It's football season here at Proview Networks, and welcome to another episode of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. Very excited to have the state's best wide receiver in the chair today. Cleveland High's Nick Trujillo is in studio. Welcome. Glad to finally have you.
Sir, thank you for having me.
We had most of the quarterbacks through, right? We still got to get Evan on. Obviously, we got to get your guys still, but we had some of the other quarterbacks through. I said, no, we need to get one of the receivers, right?
Yeah.
So why not have the best? All right, so let's start with the season that you're having so far. Obviously, from an individual standpoint, the numbers are just astronomical. So talk about that first.
I mean, none of it's possible without my teammates. I think senior year, I kind of I always want to have a better season than I had last year, and I think I'm doing that right now. So.
And then from a team perspective, I mean, you guys are, right where everyone kind of expected you, right there, the favorites to be in the championship again, and right where you're at. We were kind of talking about that a little bit before we came on, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys just always seem to deliver, right? So talk about that.
I mean, playing at Cleveland's special. You come in, kind of like we expect to win. We want to win, and I feel like that we've been playing how we should. I mean, we've lost, but I feel like we're still at the top, and we're still forced to be reckoned with.
And talk about, I mean, you talked about, guys just don't expect you to lose, right? And you didn't lose, like, for the longest time. So I'm looking through, like, so how many games in a row before you guys finally dropped an L when you were playing varsity?
I think it was 22, 23, something like that. Since my freshman year, it was definitely weird. Haven't felt that feeling before.
Yeah, like, was it, like, what was that like after the game? After you've won 23 in a row, you don't even know what losing feels like.
Yeah.
Like, how was it different?
It was just like everybody's, attitude.
Were you confused?
Yeah, it's kind of just like what happened, like thinking like the game's not over yet, but I don't know, it's definitely different. Everybody's attitude was, down, and it's just like, I don't know, we don't go out to eat after the game. We just go home and get on with our night.
Well, good thing that only happens like once a year, right? Maybe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In a bad year. And then it's weird too, like, because the community, right? Like, on campus, it's like no one's, your teammates obviously never expect to lose, but then even like the school, just normal Cleveland Storm students that aren't on the team, they don't expect you guys to lose. Faculty doesn't expect you to lose. The community of Rio Rancho doesn't expect. So it's like, it's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I feel like our faculty and like our students definitely feed off like the energy that the football team creates, and like that's definitely like something that like they brag about, and that's something that's big at our school.
And how cool is it to be a part of that and say, yeah, like, I built that. I helped build and carry on this tradition.
I mean, yeah, it's really cool. It's cool because, everybody kind of looks up to you you walk around on Fridays with your jersey on, everybody kind of looks up to you, and they know, like, oh, he plays on the football team, like I don't know. It's just it gives you more, like, respect.
Right. And how big is that with other guys, too, like, around town, right? Like, opponents are shocked when you guys lose, too, right? Like, so other football players, I mean, everyone's got that level of respect, and what is that like from other guys? Like,
I mean, I think it's gonna get hard to get used to, but everybody's kind of just like what happened, like.
Right. When you lost that first game, how many texts did you get that said what happened?
So many. It's like, what happened? It's like, I don't know. I mean, we just got outplayed,
Right.
Like, it's hard to say that, but, I mean, it's flat out true. Centennial outplayed us, and
right.
I don't know, move on.
Right. You guys played a really, really good team in Texas this year as well, and, people are like, oh, Cleveland lost. And I'm like, yeah, but there was another team on the field that night,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, but it's that kind of standard of excellence that you guys have built there. You got to be very proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of something I've been like brought up with. I've been to all the Cleveland games when I was, like in Yaffle, and growing up watching them win. I don't think I ever really saw them lose, and like to be a part of it is special, and just, yeah, I mean, it's awesome to be a part of like the best program in the state.
It's something you guys take very seriously. I remember Coach Ridenauer, that whole protected tradition thing. That's not just a catchphrase you throw on a T-shirt. He lived and breathed that, right?
Exactly.
And talk about that.
I mean, protect tradition means, like the tradition, it's protect the people that played before you, play for the people that played before you, and for the people that are going to play after you, and, and it's like do the right thing, no matter what. Like, even when no one's watching, someone's watching, And I just feel like, to protect the tradition means to hold yourself to a higher standard than the rest, and I think that's what we do.
Did you understand that right away when you came into the program? I mean, you come in as a freshman, and you probably hear, okay, protect the tradition, right? But when did it really hit home?
I'd say, well, because I played freshman football, until the end of that season. And then when I got pulled up the varsity, I'd say it was really hit because it's a lot different than freshman football. Obviously, it's a lot more serious. Everybody's there for a reason. Everybody wants to win, you know. And I just feel like it's definitely different because the coaches harp on it a lot more at the higher level. So I feel like when I got pulled up is when I really realized like that's what they mean. It's not just the same.
Right. And you get pulled up as a freshman, and you share the field with Jeff Davison, Dorian Lewis, Trey Watson, Trey Ortega, Luke, Colton Madison. I'm leaving guys out, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was a really special bunch your freshman year. So talk about that. You get pulled up to that locker room in that environment with those dudes.
It was definitely a lot different because, you know, just going from freshman football to going up against, you know, like the state's best team and like some of the best players around the state, it's a lot different. You know, it's a lot faster. It's a lot more physical at the higher level. And
like the first time you look at Dorian's legs, you're like, oh my God, I got to hit the weight room, right?
Exactly.
Like, did you have that kind of aha moment as a freshman?
Well, so my first practice was a Wednesday morning. So we practice in the mornings on Wednesdays. And my first practice on varsity was Wednesday morning. And I was on scout team as a little freshman. And I'm playing corner. And very first play, I remember Trey Watson tells, Coach Ridenauer tells Trey Watson and Trayvon to put me and Evan on our ass. And first play, I get thrown around. And I was just like,
welcome to varsity, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But that kind of, you know, the learning curve has got to be real quick at a program like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always good because I had a great, like you said, the 2019 class was insane. And I got to learn from the state's best, some of the best players to ever play in the state. And I feel like that goes a long way.
So now as a senior, who are you putting on their ass? Which freshman are you showing the tradition to?
I mean, I'm not really that kind of guy. I'm not like, I'm more of just, you know, I'm just there. I kind of lead an example, try to help the younger guys out. But I'll do it if I have to.
But that's important, right? I mean, I'm sure you seniors have had that talk with the young guys, like, hey, we take our football pretty serious around here, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even the first couple of games, you know, seeing some of the younger guys, like before the game, we're all kind of like locked in and, you know, it's kind of quiet. No one really talks to anybody. But some of the younger guys, you know, if they're goofing around or just like talking or just like doing things that they're supposed to do, we'll get on them, tell them like, no, just like this is serious. This is a lot different than, you know, JV football and, you know, freshman football, you know.
Because that's one of the first things that I can recall when we used to do some preseason coverage and stuff. That's one of the first things that I noticed, and I know Adam noticed it when he used to work here, is how different practice is at Cleveland.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's long. It's kind of like a mini college practice. We go in and we have different stations and different groups, and I think it's quick. You know, they don't expect us to slouch any day.
Right. No rest period. Just
go.
Full activity from whether it's indie period to indie period to indie period, and that part is really, really impressive. And I mean, we're going to take our first break here, and we'll talk some more Cleveland Storm culture when we get back, because I could talk Storm culture all day with Nick Trujillo. We'll be right back.
Whaley along with Cheshire, and Chris Moore gets a point back for the Huskies, 11-7.
Left, boom, Barella.
Quick turn right into the yak there for Justice. Absolutely. Basket Bell looking, throws off the back leg.
Oh, what a...
That sent some pressure, and there he comes. Make him get rid of the ball quick.
They got 5 there, and it's a sack. This one's going to be on Brody Whitaker, as they didn't have it.
To Meyer, she pushes it over, but waiting for it was Sofia Valdez, who just slapped it down, and it's an advantage for...
Hasn't found that yet, but they do have a 2nd down and 7. Sapien flies up after that ball. He goes through the middle. What a snag and a touchdown.
What a catch. It's a beautiful catch. One-handed, jump up in the air. I'm not even sure if that was meant for him, but...
got one man to beat, and he beat him. Now he's racing towards the sideline, and he is in. Touchdown, Josh Fury.
Next Tuesday away at Del Norte. Chargers got the Volcano Vista Hawks on Thursday. It's an ace by Maya Perea, and the Sartans take the fifth set 15-5.
Lysong rolling, finds Trujillo. Trujillo made one miss, made two miss. He's going dancing. He's going hurdling. He's going in. Santa Maria. It's a touchdown for Nick Trujillo.
Is amazing.
So the first snap will be a pass for Sapien. He's got a man wide open in the middle. It's Miguel Zarate. Zarate looks like he's got a touchdown. So it's going to be 78 yards. Sapien to Zarate to get this game underway. 6 points for the Sartans.
Back with Cleveland's Nick Trujillo, we're talking about the culture, and let's finish up on that piece. I think the testament to the program is Coach Potter, to Coach Ridenauer, now to Coach Garza. It has been smooth transitions throughout. Mm-hmm. The culture has survived throughout. That, to me, tells me that this culture is not coach-driven, but it's athlete and player-driven. And that's, you hear guys talk about that in the NFL all the time, right? A good team led by the coaches, a great team led by the players. Do you have that vibe at Cleveland?
Yeah, Coach, that's definitely something Coach Garza and all the coaches now talk about, and even Coach Ryan and I will talk about. We want to be a player-driven team. You know, they can only take us so far, and they can only do so much for us, and I think it's on us to get us to the next level.
All right, let's talk about Coach Ridenauer first. Tell us about, you grew up in that program. I know how close Coach Ridenauer is to all his players. I know how many hours he puts in and the dedication, and just it really is a family with Coach Ridenauer. So how devastating was that news when you've heard it?
It was definitely different. It's kind of just like took us all by shock. None of us expected it, and he did it kind of at that time. We were getting fitted for our rings from last season, and he just kind of told us that he loves us, and he didn't want to make the decision, but it's what's best for him. And I feel like that's all we could do is kind of forgive him. We understand it's best for him, best for his family, and
right. How cool is it, though, that he's at UNM and you're going to UNM?
Yeah, that's definitely cool. It's going to be nice to be back with him because I feel like there's definitely still some unfinished business that, a couple of us still have to finish, and it's going to be great to do it with him.
When was the first, because Coach Ridenauer, what I loved about him, he gets so into the game, right? And he's so emotionally invested with all you kids. And he's got some hops, man, for those chest bumps.
He can play basketball. That's
right, but I see it. When Dorian scores a big touchdown, he gets up there for the chest bump, right? When was your first Ridenauer jumping chest bump? When do you remember it?
I don't know. I think it probably the Volcano game last season. That was probably my the game I like to call my coming out game. You know, I didn't really have. I started off kind of slow, and that was the first game last year where I really kind of came into the player that I am now.
Right.
It's kind of just showed who I was. And after that game, he was really proud of me, and I just remember him telling me he was really excited and he's proud of me and that.
So we talked a little bit about UNM and the guys that are there. It's a pipeline, right? Cleveland guys go to they go from that community of Rio Rancho, they go to UNM, and they're on the field, they're playing, they're making a difference. So how exciting is that now as a player that you can look forward to staying home?
Yeah, it was great. I feel like it's definitely something that I've always kind of wanted to do is stay here and play in front of, what I've been growing up watching and play in front of all the Albuquerque fans. And I feel like it's not going to be that much of it's going to be a big difference, but I'm still staying home. So it's we don't got to have to travel. It's not as many people are going to have to stream our games or any of that because they can just go.
Right. And then obviously Coach Ridenauer is there, but what Coach Gonzalez has done and built through local kids, that's got to be really cool for all of you guys.
Yeah, especially coming from New Mexico, we're really overlooked, and Coach G really shows that he believes in us and that he's going to trust us and he's going to continue to recruit New Mexico kids, and I think that means a lot and definitely gives him the respect of all of us because we know that we're wanted and that we're going to get the chance to play.
And it's working too, right? Because you turn on the game on Saturday, you see Luke out there making plays. You see the opposing quarterback crying because Cody Moon hit him too hard, right? Like those are our guys making plays on the field. That's got to be cool.
It is cool because, like I said earlier, like we're overlooked from being athletes from New Mexico. I think we're overlooked by everybody, and it's kind of always cool seeing somebody from here, you know, make a big play or make the news or anything, Jordan Bird or from San Diego or just anybody. It's always cool seeing that.
Right, and I mean, I would go as far as to say some of those guys that left, a Jordan Bird, a Keyshawn Banks, if Coach Gonzalez was the head coach when they were going to high school, I think those guys are playing for the Lobos. What do you think?
Oh, without a doubt. I think it's, you know, he shows that he believes in us and that he's going to trust us and that he wants us to play for UNM. And I think back then the culture was completely different. So players were kind of looking for a reason to get out. And I think now it's different because people are trying to stay and people want to be here.
Right. All right, we'll take another time out with Nick here. I do want to talk about, you know, the rest of the season, maybe looking ahead. I want to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks in the state this year because your guys obviously awesome. And then we got some great quarterbacks around the city. In my opinion, I don't think the quarterback play's ever been better. But what do I know? We got the state's best receiver sitting next to me. I'll ask him instead. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Back with Nick Trujillo of the Cleveland Storm. We're talking about quarterbacks a little bit before we went to break. Obviously, yours is pretty special. Let's talk about Evan first.
I mean, this might be biased. I think he's the best quarterback. You know, he can do it all. He can throw better than anybody. He can compete with anybody in the state in passing, and then he can run the ball. You know, you don't see too many quarterbacks that, you know, win state at the 200-meter and track and win relays and he's an athlete. And I just feel like he's the best quarterback of the state.
And he's going with you as well, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. You stay with Evan and, you know, get to. Like I said, we're kind of finished what we left off with Ryan Hour. It's kind of cool to be back like I never left.
And then, you know, if we bring the other quarterbacks into that discussion, obviously Aiden Armenta committed to UNM. When then we have the other Aiden Travis at Cibola, and I think Elliot Pascabel belongs in that conversation as well. Is this as good as the quarterback play has been? Usually we got 1 or 2. Right, but it seems like this year it's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, this is definitely a special class because I think this is one of the first years where there's not just, like you said, one, 2 quarterbacks that can, you know, win a game. You know, Aiden Armenta and Chavez, you know, can both sling the rock, and they're both should be mentioned as top quarterbacks in the state. As long as Elliot, I mean, he's a great player as well, and I just feel like this
as
is
a receiver, you're like, I don't care who's throwing it. I just want to.
Yeah,
I can catch anything. Is
that
your mindset? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I always take my quarterback over them, of course.
But you're saying you can catch it from anybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think it matters, but
I love that.
As long as it's coming towards me.
And that's got to be pretty cool too. That because if we're being honest, that's a problem position at UNM right now, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a local recruit now as well going at that position. So that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be cool, especially play with Aiden because I was kind of knew who he was, but I didn't really talk to him, hang out with him until the UNM camp this summer. And to know that he's gonna be that's gonna be my quarterback next year will be nice, and because I know he's he knows how to win.
All right. We got to settle a little argument with my broadcast partner, Daryl Stoneham. I don't know if you know Daryl. He does the games with me. Okay. I'm going to let you look at your solo camera here in a second. But for some reason, he thinks the best receiver in the state plays at Farmington High School, and he's a sophomore. And Daryl missed the game last week, right? Because he had to work. Okay. So he couldn't even do the Cleveland game with us. So a doubter like Daryl, what do you have to say to a doubter like Daryl? You can look right at your solo camera.
I mean, he's just missing out. I mean, he obviously doesn't want to watch good football, if he's making excuses, but he'll see. I mean, we'll see. He's still got a couple weeks left, and
that's right.
I'll show him.
All right. Yeah, he's missing out on the show. That's a great way to put it. He's missing out on the show. I love that. All right, let's talk about the rest of the season. We're obviously in the meat of district play here. I would imagine the goals at Cleveland don't really change at the beginning of the season. Win district, check. Win state, check, right? I mean, I could be way off, but what do you guys talk about at the beginning of the process?
I mean, yeah, that's always like the big goal. We always want to get the blue trophy. We have a picture of that in our film room. That's the highlighted part is the blue trophy, and that's what the end goal is. But we don't really talk about winning district or like winning state now. We always focus on whoever's ahead of us next, and right now, we're focused on Trisco.
Right.
So right now we don't have any focus about that. We're going to do what we do, and we're just going to see how it goes.
Is the tradition to a point, though, where I used to talk to Hope kids about this a lot, Hope basketball players, where they win so many state titles at Hope. Like, if you were part of a group that didn't win one, like the other alumni, hey, they were in that group that didn't win. Has it kind of gotten to that at Cleveland?
Not really. I mean, there's definitely that pressure because, we've won the last couple. And I think this year we'll definitely let down. It's going to be a shock, if we're not in contention. But I feel like there's definitely that pressure and that weight on our shoulders. Definitely, we feel it and we know what we're up against.
What does Nick Trujillo do when he's not playing football? Like when you're a video game guy. Like, what do you do to unwind with your friends?
Kind of just hang out, chill, play video games with friends, go play basketball, just hang out. Nothing really special.
Has Coach Jimenez tried to convince you to, you play more with us, basketball?
No, he understands.
Because he can.
Yeah.
He can be pretty persuasive.
Oh, yeah.
I hear he's working on somebody as we speak.
I don't know about that. But he definitely wants me there as much as I can. But he understands, it's during
and that's
football
always
season.
been a great thing at Cleveland, too, right? The coaches have always done a really good job at sharing you guys. Because, let's be honest, you guys always played till the last week in football and then basketball, right?
Away.
So the two coaches have always been really good at that, right? And how important is that to play multiple sports at Cleveland?
It's really important because, I think it's the best high school to go to at New Mexico. And it's kind of like an honor to be able to play sports at such a high level and to have the trust from the coaches to go from sport to sport. And then they know, we're going to give it their all. It means a lot.
Now, Coach Jimenez and I are pretty close. And he talks about how great he was at baseball. I don't know if you've ever talked to him about this. He said he played every position and was a player coach on the field. Does he ever talk that nonsense to you guys too? Because he talks about how great he is at basketball, golf, and he's pretty good at golf. I'll give him golf. He beats me pretty good at golf. But he makes it sound like he's Babe Ruth when he went to Rio Grande High School, right? What's that like?
He does do that. He likes to talk. And
he's a talker, isn't he?
There's times at basketball we're like, he'll come play defense on me, and we'll go play defense, and then I'm not trying, none of us really try, and then he'll throw up a shot, he'll just throw up a shot and it goes in, and then he'll be talking about it the next 3 weeks. And
3 weeks?
Yeah, he won't let it go.
Months.
He won't let it go. He definitely likes to talk, and even during baseball, he talked about baseball a little bit with Antonio.
Did he ever tell you that he played every position at Rio Grande High School?
Not that I know of, but I can imagine that he would say that.
And one thing I've always enjoyed about Sean and Coach Ridenour as well is both of those programs, they're always pretty close-knit bonds, families. Talk about kind of that, what Coach Ridenour has done, and now what Coach Garza has done, and I know what Coach Jimenez does. It's always a very close-knit group.
I think it's definitely something that is very important. You want to be close, and I think even last year, that 2021 team, we were all close. We were a big family. We'd hang out all the time outside of just football or outside of just basketball. We'd hang out almost every day. I think that's something that the coaches harp on. Don't go out and get in trouble. We don't want to go to parties. We want be where your feet are and be here and be committed to the team. And I think everybody on the team is committed and everybody wants to win.
And that's got to be another big thing, especially on the football team, right? Like you talk about, our expectations are way up here, so that has to go into the classroom as well, and go into that, good decision making. I'm sure that's a big thing, because I don't imagine that football players can go screw around at parties in Rio Rancho and not be known that they're there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, how important is that to you guys?
It's very important, and all our coaches, they care about us, and we know that. We know we can call them if we need anything, and they say every weekend, before we have a break or before the weekend, they say don't do anything stupid. Be smart. Think about Coach Kilmer yelling at us if we were to get in trouble, or just think about.
I love Coach Kilmer.
They say use us as a bad guy, use us as the excuse. Coach Garza will kill me if I do this. Coach Garza will kill me if I do that. And I think that's something definitely it's very important, because they want to win just as much as we want to win, and stay out of trouble is the best way.
All right, in our final moments, what was that recruiting process like? What was the whole UNM decision like? For guys that are watching that are maybe younger than you and they're getting into that process, what was that like?
It started off slow. It's kind of just I don't know. I feel like people overlook.
What do you tell that guy that's like, man, I'm not getting any love. Is this going to happen?
I say just stay calm, keep working. Your time will come, and I just feel like everybody's time will come, and just keep putting in the work behind the scenes.
And then how does the process start when there is schools and there's a list? Like, how do you go through that list of schools and pros and cons here? Just take us through that.
I think it's just be where you want it, not where you want to be, but where you're most wanted, where you're going to make an impact. Even if it's not right away, you can make an impact that'll help the team for the better. And I feel like that's definitely something that helped me with UNM. Is at the camp they made it known that they wanted me to be there, and that I can really help them in the future.
Well, we're certainly excited that we're going to get to keep watching you on Saturday. And maybe Sundays, right? That's got to be in the back of your mind, right? That's every football player's dream, right? To play on Sundays.
Exactly. That's always a goal. Ever since you're little, you want to play. You wake up on Sunday mornings and watch the NFL, and you're like, oh, that's what I want to do when I'm older. And I mean, take it step by step. Right now, I play on Friday nights, so I'm gonna focus on where I'm at right now.
Right. Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming in, man. Good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll be at quite a few of your playoff games, and we'll be watching. And good luck as a Lobo, and hopefully we'll have you back very soon. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.